Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we are at the start of another weekly reading vlog, and if you saw the end of last week's video you'd know that I am almost at the end of Within a Sanctuary of Wings. I have 100 pages to go and this is the first thing I plan on finishing. I do plan on finishing it tonight, so I figured while we're at the start we would do another spin on my spinner wheel, because for those of you that missed last week's vlog, I have decided that for this month of reading, the way I'm going to choose what books I read from my TBR game is by using a spinner wheel, and it has been so much fun. It's been a really good way to change up what I'm reading. So I think as I'm going to be finishing this tonight, I can do a spinner wheel, because that way if I decide that I want to read even more after finishing that, I can go straight into it. But I'm also back to work tomorrow, so my reading's going to be changing to morning times, so we can see what I'll be starting my morning off with reading, because my plan is to start off my day with a nice hot cup of chai latte and read whatever book has been chosen. That's the plan. Hopefully it all goes to plan, but okay, I need to get my phone actually so that I can do that spinner wheel. On the spinner wheel we have 4 options. I have put in the option that won from my TBR game, which was the romance book, which is The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love. I'm excited for all of it. I think I've got a fantastic TBR this month. Ooh, oh, it looks like we're stopping on the, yeah. How to Think Like a Woman. So that's a non-fiction book. How to Think Like a Woman is 4 women philosophers who taught me how to love the life of the mind by Regan Penula. Penula blends memoir, biography and criticism to tell the stories of 4 women who were really influential within philosophy. This, because it's a non-fiction book, I'm not going to try and read all of it in one week. So I think what I'm going to do is we'll finish this tonight. Tomorrow morning with my hot cup of chai I will read 1 chapter. How long is the first chapter? Because this is broken into different, oh okay, it's only 14 pages. So that's not long. So I think my plan is probably to do 1 chapter a day of this, and then maybe we'll do an update with what I think of this, finishing this, and then maybe spin again as a potential to have another book in the background. Like, this is not going to get finished in this week, but from today until the end of the month I am planning to try and read 1 chapter a day. And there is, how many chapters? We've got 15 chapters and we are on the 11th of March. So yeah, so that would work. This will be finished by the end of the month, so that would be really cool. We'll see if I can keep it up. Some days I may be busier than others, so I may not be able to read a chapter a day, but to be fair, this is not long chapters. Like, at most, I think we've got 30 pages, which is the longest chapter. I definitely think a chapter a day is definitely possible with this, so hopefully that is what we'll do. The first chapter is A Woman Thinker, and this little quote, I'm just going to read it out. I don't know what it says, but let's go for it. So, we cannot live in a world that is interpreted for us by others. An interpreted world is not a hope. Part of the terror is to take back our own listening, to use our own voice, to see our own light. And that's Hildegard of Bingen, 1098 to 1179. I think this is going to be really good, plus I love this cover. This is what I mean by this TBR this month has been so eclectic, but I'm really excited for it all. That's the plan. So potentially tomorrow, it depends. I should have more than enough time to read my first chapter of this, come in, do an update to say my final thoughts on Within the Sanctuary of Wings, my first thoughts about this, and then we'll spin once more to see what the fiction book is going to be for the week. We've got 1 really short one and then 2 others that are pretty like reasonably sized, which means that I may not get them finished this week because I do have work. I'm back to work tomorrow. I will have little bits of editing to do in the mornings. So it just depends how early I end up getting. Like, I'm not going to force myself out of bed early because I'm working till midnight. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, see what I get read, because as usual, being back to work means that I'm starting up my Kindle reads again, and my Kindle reads are for other videos and stuff, so I've got plenty going on, so we'll see how much I get read, but this is what we're starting out with, and I'm very excited. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of Within the Sanctuary of Wings in case you did miss last week's vlog, but this is the 5th book in the Lady Trent series. This is a series where Lady Trent is writing her memoirs, and she has chosen 5 particular events in her life that are the most kind of like talked about and the most influential within her life that she is writing down. And in each book we see her coming across different species of dragons, because in this, Lady Trent is a scientist specialising in dragons. Now, the first book focuses more on how she was very young, always been interested in dragons and things, but this, we're in a society, think like Jane Austen times, where the purpose of a woman is to have children, look after the home, that sort of thing. It is not to go out and learn different things, and being a scientist and stuff is very frowned upon. They look down on her because she is female. That all kind of comes to a head in this book, where she is so frustrated. She has made so many discoveries by this point. She has had such a massive impact on not just the scientific community, but also in war and the political community, through the different actions that she's done, not technically on purpose, but just as a consequence of the different things she's doing. She's also had an impact on the suffragettes movement and things like that. And yet still, the society, like there's an inner society of scientists that she has not been allowed to join because she's a woman. She is still not given the accolades for all of the work that she has done. And so in this book, she is like, I'm going to go out on this one last adventure. Technically not, I mean, she's going to do other things, but she says like this is the biggest adventure that she had, to try and get a foothold in this society. And if they still do not accept her after this, then they're never going to accept her. It doesn't matter what she does, she is never going to be enough for them. And it's frustrating and it's a bitter pill to swallow, but she knows this is something she has to do, not just for her scientific curiosity, which she has by the bucket load, but also just for her standing as a woman, and to prove that women are not lesser than men, that she has done so much more than all of these men combined, and she is going to prove that. So even if by the end of it they don't give her a seat, everyone's going to know that she is what she has done. Like, so I really like that, but it's all in the background, and that's what I was wondering whether we would get more of in this book, is more of that political landscape focused on in this book, because a lot of the others is there in the background. You're seeing the effects that she's having. The main focus is the different dragons that she comes across. It's the same in here, because it is there at the start. You can see her motivations, why she wants to do this trip, but then the focus goes to the dragons. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because it stays true to who she is. Like, yes, she feels this way. Yes, she's had all these big impacts within politics and science and all of this. But like she says, at her core, she is a scientist. She wants to go out and discover new things, and she wants to do that not just for the scientific community and the world at large, but for herself. And so it does make sense that we don't get it as focused in on. Would I have liked a little bit more? Sure. But also I'm not unhappy with how this is going. Like, this is a series that I genuinely love. It's meant so much to me, and it's also shown how I have changed a lot as a reader. And like, I'm going to be doing a whole video talking about this in April on books that have shaped me and stuff. But something I was thinking about, I was talking to my partner about it last night, is I could honestly go through all of these shelves, and I even did, like for the shelf, you can't see it's out of screen, I was like, if I was being ruthless in unhauling books I'm not going to reread again, books that I've kept for the nostalgia, but realistically I could just keep the one book rather than the whole series, I would probably lose half of that shelf so quickly. And the same with like the rest of my shelves, like seeing how much my reading has changed, focusing in on what sort of books I actually really enjoy reading. This is definitely one of them. Like, this sort of what it's made up of is what I genuinely love reading, as well as lots of other different things. But I'm also like, I want to get into so many different things that I know I've loved, that I've put by the wayside for various different reasons. And I just feel myself changing that little bit more. And this year I want to embrace other things, like my classics. Like a few years ago I would read loads of classics and I really loved them, and I do have to be in the mood for them. I do find if I'm too tired I can't concentrate, but some of those classics are some of the best books I've ever read, and I love them, and they've had such a big impact on my reading. And this is like one of those books that have had a big impact, and it's just weird to see how much I've changed, which was a weird tangent, which I don't really know how that goes back into what I was saying. Like, I do this a lot where I'm chatting away and then I lose track of where I was going with it, but safe to say I'm loving this. This is the last book in the Lady Trent series. There is one extra one, but it's a spin-off. It's following her granddaughter, not Lady Trent herself. I will still get it and read it, but I am counting this series as complete, which takes me into actually Rainy's series year-long reading challenge. I'm really excited about that. Where's my phone so I can get up what square this is for? So I've been doing really well with this bingo board. It's a bingo board that's all about finishing series, and it's one that I've been really enjoying. I'm having a grand old time with it. I'm really pleased that Rainy came out with this because my goal this year was to finish series. And this one I am putting in for a favourite author series because Marie Brennan is a favourite author of mine. I have read obviously the Lady Trent series. I have read another series that they co-wrote with somebody else, which was the Mask of Mirrors series. I read this trilogy and really liked it. And then I have her other series, which I think came out before this. I'm not sure, I'll have to check that, which is like this Fae series, and each book is set about 100 years apart. They're chunky, but I'm really looking forward to reading it. I got all of these for like £2. That was amazing. I got 3. I need to see what ones I'm missing, but I think I've got the first 3. I'm not sure, but yeah, Marie Brennan is definitely a favourite author of mine, so that is going in there, and it's finishing out a series, so that's amazing. We're making good progress with the bingo board. But okay, I think I have chatted for long enough. I think this intro has gone on for long enough. So thank you so much for joining. I hope you're all doing really, really well. Let me know what you've been up to this week. But okay, for now, I am going to start getting ready. I've got an eye test. I need to start another video, and I also want to pop out. So yeah, we've got quite a bit we need to do today. Lots to get on with. So I'll catch up with you tomorrow morning, and yeah, we'll see how all of the reading goes. And I have done what I said I was going to do. I finished Within the Sanctuary of Wings, and I did like this ending. Some parts I think could have been fleshed out a little bit more. It would have been nice seeing Lady Trent get back home. Like, there were parts of this towards the end where it's like, oh, a year passed and we did these things, and I think it could have had a little bit more fleshed out to it. It did feel like we had reached a point in the book that we needed to kind of finish the book, or like the author needed to finish the book, and so it felt a little bit kind of rushed. Things could have been fleshed out that tiny little bit more towards the end, but honestly it wasn't anything major. I was very happy with it. I will read that 6th book that follows Lady Trent's granddaughter, but like I say, probably not for a little while. I'm very happy that I finally finished out this series, so yeah, so very, very happy with that. Kind of bittersweet. I really loved what it did. I think the way it built up to what happened was very good, and while it wasn't as political as I thought it was going to be, it did make sense to where the story went because of all the build up that we had to these little things that then made a lot of sense. So I thought that was very well done. Like I say, I think just the ending could have been maybe an extra 50 pages just to flesh out a couple of the final bits. But overall, I really enjoyed my reading experience, so I'm very, very happy with that. And then I did start How to Think Like a Woman today. I read the first chapter and then also the author's note, and I feel like the author's note and the first chapter was pretty much the same thing. The author's note goes into bits about philosophy, how the percentages of female philosophers that make up syllabus, or even those that study philosophy, and the amount of publication, as well as BIPOC authors, things like this, of those publishing papers regarding philosophy, the tiny percentages, and how it is very much a field where it's white men that make up the bulk of it, and how it's looked down upon to be interested in feminist philosophy or pride philosophy, things like this. Is kind of looked down upon. And then in the first chapter we kind of get an overview of what got Reagan into philosophy in the first place, and the experiences that she had with philosophy at university and things. And while it is interesting, I really want to get to the bits where we're talking about the 4 female philosophers. Like, that's my main goal, is to get there. This is definitely more of a focus on the part where it says it's her own search for love and truth, the author's own search for love and truth, and then a little bit from the history of philosophy. So I feel like it's not going to go as deep as I want it to from this first bit. I could be wrong, because we still have the rest of the book to go. So it could be wrong, and we could get more into those women and what they did for philosophy and things, but we'll see. I feel like this will be an interesting one to start. So even if it doesn't go as deep as what I would like, if I know that I'm interested in it, then I know I can research these women, find other non-fiction books that focus solely on these women. But at the minute, we're getting more of Reagan's experience with philosophy than anything else. But again, that's only based on the first chapter. So I will continue reading 1 chapter a day of this. As already mentioned, they're really short, so it's easy to do. So it is time, I'm trying to find my phone, to do the spinner wheel for the next book that I'm going to read in the background. Now, do I think I'm going to get a load of whatever book is chosen read? Not particularly. I think depending on what gets chosen. So we've got a really short book, which is Água Viva, which is a little Portuguese classic. Looking forward to giving this one a try. I think if this one gets chosen, I'll 100% be finishing it this week. But the other 2 that are possibilities, we have the winner of what was on options to choose for the romance pick for the month, which is the Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love. And then we have the Prisoner's Throne. And I think if these 2 get picked, I don't imagine I'm finishing them this week, because I do want to make sure I am prioritizing reading a chapter of this every day. And I also have a buddy read happening where we've got a certain amount of chapters to read a day. Depending on what happens in the morning will depend on whether I get much of these ones read. Let's just get into the spinner wheel, shall we? Because I think this will be the last time we use the spinner wheel, because obviously next week's vlog is the vlog for Sunrise on the Reaping, and then the vlog after that will just be trying to finish up whatever books I've got left for March. So this is going to be the last time we use the spinner wheel, which is, honestly, it's been fun. I've really enjoyed it, which I've already said many, many times. Anyway, let's get recording. No more rambling, let's spin. I'm gonna say nervous. I say that all the time as well. I've got to come up with more words than just nervous. Ooh, okay. Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love. Okay, so the book that I'm going to be picking up in probably like little bits here and there is the Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love by India Holton. Now, I've read one other book by India Holton, which was The Secret Service of Tea and Treason, which was actually the 3rd book in a series that I didn't realise was the 3rd book in a series. It's a romance series, so you can read them out of order. It just gives you spoilers on how the couples are going to end up from the first 2 books, and like the 2 that you're following in that 3rd book are side characters in the first 2 books. So I mean, I would recommend reading them in order. It's probably the best. I just didn't realise it was the 3rd book in a series. I picked it up second. No, I paid that one full price for a different video. Anyway, this one is the start of a new series. We've got the 2nd book that comes out. I'm not sure if it's out yet or coming out, but I'm looking forward to this. So this is Romantasy. We are following 2 rival ornithologists seeking one dangerous, beautiful bird. Is the hunt of their lives also how they find the love of their lives? So we're following Professor Beth Pickering and Professor Devon Lockley. It will be interesting to see if we get both perspectives. I would like that. But yeah, I'm not really interested in reading more than that. It's kind of giving light academia, almost like a Emily Wilde vibe, but instead of fairies and fae and stuff, you're getting birds, which I'm very intrigued by. What bird are we? So we are trying to find the endangered Calidarius bird. Sounds really good. I'm looking forward to it. I kind of like this idea of like a light academia fantasy romance, which this is definitely given. So yeah, I'm really excited. I do like India Holton's writing. The book that I read, it's actually from the Dangerous Damsel series, was so ridiculous and funny. So it'd be interesting to see if we've got that same kind of humor or if we're going in a different direction with this. I really like how India Holton does this as well. We get the table of significant characters, and you got that in the other book that I read by them as well. So we've got Beth Pickering, an intrepid professor of ornithology, Hippolyta Spiffington Quirm, a high flyer, Devon Lockley, a young man who has not yet seen the error of his ways. I think we're going to be getting the same sort of humour. I'm very happy with that. We've got Klaus, a stain on the noble name of Beak Bagger, Lady Trimble, a bearer of exciting news. We've got other people. Someone's on pressing business. It says, please note he's not really here, for another person. We have an adversary. We've got an entirely chance encounter, a grumpy cousin. It just sounds really fun. So if judging from that, we're going to be getting the same humour as the other books, which I'm very excited about. And it looks like we are getting a quote at the start of each chapter. Okay, well this is the book that I'm reading alongside my non-fiction book, which actually I feel like that is the perfect pairing because we've got a non-fiction book and then something lighter to pair it with. So I feel like that's going to be good. So we'll see how much of this I get read. I may surprise myself, I may finish it out, or I may just get halfway or something. We'll see, but I'm very, very excited to read these. But okay, right now I'm thinking I've got a bit of time before I do lunch. Yeah, I've got about 45 minutes before I do lunch, so I think I'm going to read the chapters I need to read for the buddy read, and then with lunch I'm going to start The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love, which I'm very excited about. Like, genuinely, I'm very excited about this. I've been meaning to read it for like a year. I'm not gonna lie, I meant to read this when it first came out and I just never got round to it. I'm very, very excited to be reading this, and obviously if I love it, I will get the second book, which I think is to do with geographers. And again, I need to find out whether that's actually out or not. Hopefully Editor Me will put in the date that it's out, if it's already out, if it's due out, we'll see. Yeah, very, very excited for this one. Small progress with both books, so let's talk about How to Think Like a Woman first. So I've just finished reading my chapter for today, and it seems like we've come to the end of the initial bit where we're getting Regan's journey into discovering these female philosophers. Now, the second chapter of this book was probably the most frustrating to read, but it was also good to read. And what it was is it was looking at male philosophers, their stance on women's intellect. And it was so frustrating to read. It was so frustrating because basically it was philosopher after philosopher after philosopher just saying how women do not have the capabilities for higher intellect, that women's role should be that of just following men's orders and things. And it was so frustrating. And you got the occasional one where they're like, no, women can learn and we're willing to admit them into universities and teach them about philosophy and things. But even then they would still say, but they are still inferior to men. And it was so frustrating to read, but also it kind of gave you the understanding of that's what Regan was dealing with, that's what all she was seeing was this, on how women were constantly deemed as inferior to men, and how frustrating, and especially being in a minority anyway, because she was one of the few women in her class. She did feel that she was inferior because one of the professors that she had would say how these men were correct in their thinking, how where she was didn't offer any other courses on female philosophers and things, and she didn't even really know that they existed. And then we get into the chapter I just read today, and she makes that discovery of, hang on a minute, actually there are female philosophers. And I think that's now where we're going to start learning more and more about them, which that's the bit I'm really looking forward to. But I can understand why we had these initial 3 chapters to really understand where Regan was coming from, the different prejudices and things that she had been up against, and understanding all of that. So I can really respect it. It's just, it was frustrating to read, but I'm looking forward to seeing where the rest of this goes. The next chapter that I'm up to is A Room of Her Own, and we're learning about Mary Astle, which will be really good because I don't know much about Mary Astle, so I'm very excited to read about her. So yeah, so fingers crossed from here on out it's going to be a lot more focus on the philosophers that I actually want to be learning from. Moving on to lighter things, I haven't read loads, but I've read up to Chapter 6, page 72 of the Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love. Now, I haven't had loads of time to be reading this before work, hence why it's just like little bits here and there, but I'm really excited. I'm really enjoying this. This is so funny. I wasn't sure if I was going to be getting the same sort of absurdness that you get in The Secret Service of Tea and Treason, but you do. And it was just so funny. And what made me realise straight away is, oh yes, okay, we're on that same sort of ridiculousness as the other book that I've read by India Holton, is reading about Beth. We're following Beth, and she is with Hippolyta. I'm probably mispronouncing the name, but when we first meet them, they're off trying to find this Deathstalker bird, and they need to cross this like chasm to get to the bird, and they take their umbrellas and it turns into like mini propellers so that they can like kind of glide over to the other side of this canyon. And it's hilarious, like the way that they just brought it out. Their parasol just turns into this thing there. It was great. And you realise that ornithology is ruthless. It is ruthless. They will not stop at anything. They will literally stab you to get to what they want. They are constantly stealing and cheating one another, and yeah, things get violent. And it's so much fun, like I'm absolutely loving it. And the idea is that they are on this hunt for this really elusive bird. So what happened was they had this whole incident, they ran into the rival, got a rival of Hippolyta, and you've also got Bethany's rival. Yeah, you've also got Bethany's rival, which is Devon, and they run into them when they're after this Deathstalker bird. They get foiled and they all go back into this area that they're staying in France. While they're there, they read in the newspaper that they are offering money, prestige, the birder of the year, and also tenure to the person that can catch this elusive bird that is apparently in England. And so you just see all these ornithologists just go crazy, absolute crazy. It's hilarious. It is so much fun. And so now, yeah, they're trying to go after this bird, and you've got everyone after it, and you know, it's just funny. It's so ridiculous the way they are with one another. Like, you have Hippolyta saying to Beth, right, okay, we're gonna buy every single ticket on the train so nobody else can get the train to then be able to catch the ferry. You have to go and steal this bird's call from this museum, and so you have to go and do that. But somebody also wants to get that, so they send in this bird, which is basically like, will strip meat from bone within seconds. It's a tiny bird as well, so that was quite funny. And so she's there trying to break into the museum to steal this elusive bird's call that they've got to go and get. Gets caught up with Devon yet again, and then has this crazy little bird come in. They're all fleeing for their lives, and it's just lots of things going on, lots of silly plans, and it's just a ridiculous, wild time. But if you have read any of the books from the Dangerous Damsel series, then you would know exactly what to expect, because it is that sort of ridiculousness, but also paired with really like English mannerisms and stuff from the past. And so it's so funny, and I just love it. Got all the interactions between Beth and Devon, and Beth is like, oh, I can't actually like this person. Like, she sees a bare hand and she's like, look at his hands, they're not covered by gloves, like what is going on here? And so you have all of these like principles and things from then, paired with the absolute ridiculousness of the actual plot line, and it's so funny. It's a combination that realistically I would think shouldn't work, but it works so well, and I'm loving it. It is so much fun. I really do enjoy India Holton's work, and just how, frankly, yeah, ridiculous, absurd, like, just, it is absolutely baffling, but it is so much fun. So I'm very much looking forward to continuing on. If it's anything like The Secret Service of Tea and Treason, it's going to get a little bit spicy in places, so we'll see how that all goes. But yeah, this is hilarious. I wasn't sure if it was going to lean more towards this or whether it was going to lean more towards like Emily Wilde. It's very much sticking to India Holton's like signature writing, which I really appreciate, and I feel like this is the perfect book that you can just pick up, have an absolute cackle at, and then put down and go off and do other things. Like, it's great. You don't need to focus too heavily on the plot and stuff, but it just works. It's a really light, fun, entertaining, ridiculous read, bit of romance. I love it. It's so much fun. So yeah, I definitely want to continue collecting India Holton's books because I really do enjoy them. They aren't going to be everyone's cup of tea because of how ridiculous these books can get, because some of it really is ridiculous. Like in The Dangerous Damsels, you have pirates, but they don't have ships on the sea, they have ships in the air, and they very much go around shooting each other and all sorts, but then they're like best friends the very next time, and then the next thing that happens and they're like, it's all over the place. It is absolutely all over the place, but I also really love it. Like, it is genuinely the most absurd yet posh English thing ever. It's so weird, but it really does work. And like, one thing I enjoyed about this is they're sitting down to tea and they're all complaining because it's French tea, not British tea, and how they're like, oh, this is not good, this is dishwater, and you've got the French servers like, I'm sorry, excuse me, what now? And they're like, oh, well, no, it's a... And then they just carry on being their absolute obtuse British selves. It is ridiculous and funny, and yeah, I'm having a grand old time with this because it really does take all like the mannerisms and stuff, enlarges it to a ridiculous point that you cannot help but just laugh at everything that is happening. And Beth suffers from chronic kindness to the point where she ends up agreeing to things that she doesn't even want to agree with just because she doesn't want to upset people. Quite funny, because you'll have her in her head going, no, this is ridiculous, I am not doing this, and then what she says is, yes, of course I'll help you, that's no problem. And she's like, why did I say this in her head? And she's just like, because I can't help but be nice. Like, she really can't. But it is lovely. I really like Beth as a character. I'm enjoying the interactions with Devon and some of the situations they're getting themselves into. It's just hilarious. It's really funny. I'm enjoying the ruthlessness between the different ornithologists and just seeing what they're actually going to get up to. Like, it is brilliant. It is mad, but it's funny. So yeah, this is a really nice pairing, especially because this is something so light and entertaining before work. So it's like I'm getting stuff done in the mornings, I'm starting off my day with reading my chapter from the non-fiction book, I then go off, do all the editing, anything extra I need to do before I go to work, and then normally with lunch I'm settling down for like half hour and reading a little bit of this before going off to work, and it is working really well. I'm really enjoying it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this book this week. It is, how many pages is this book? Okay, so it's 340, no, that's the acknowledgements, hang on. It is 342 pages and I've read 70, so we'll see. I imagine I'll probably get the majority of this book read this week, but we'll see. This video is going on, actually, not that you even realise, because the thing is, like, I'm actually halfway through the week. It's already Friday today, but I started this vlog late because we're doing it Tuesday to Tuesday, because the next vlog is Sunrise on the Reaping, which is published on next Tuesday. So we'll see. I might be able to finish this one out. It might go into the last vlog of March, where I'm just going to try and finish out as many of the leftover books from my March TBR, which, to be fair, is only 2 from my March TBR, potentially finishing off this one, and we'll just see how it goes from there. I'm just really enjoying it. Like, I am always looking forward to just picking it up, and even last night, like, I got in from work and I decided just to sit down and read one chapter before bed, and I am just cackling at how silly this book is, but it just works. So yeah, so if you haven't read an India Holton book, highly recommend going to get the vibe of India Holton's work straight away. It doesn't matter which series you go for, you will get that ridiculousness, and then you'll be able to know whether it's something you like or not. But Yeah, I'm great. I'm so pleased that this one won because it is just so funny. So yeah, I'm having a good time with that. But right now I've got like 2 other videos I need to update, so I need to get on and do all of that. Then I'm probably gonna edit a little bit and then go from there. But yeah, I'm having so much fun. I think it's a really good mix as well because I'm having that little moment in the morning to learn something about philosophy, which is not something I learned much about. Like, it wasn't anything I learned at college or anything, so it's quite interesting to have those snippets and to learn a little bit more, and then to pair it with a book that is just utterly absurd. It's good fun. It's a good mix. Good afternoon. We're sat in front of my sofa because Hermione is honestly nestled up here. She has not let me move these blankets for like the last couple days. She is so comfy right here. It's like, don't get me wrong, she gets up to go eat and do other things and stuff, but there is literally a cat like circle where she has been nestling in them every day. She's very happy right now. But okay, right, so updates, reading updates. I have read a little bit more of How to Think Like a Woman. Not loads, not as much as I thought I would. I'm up to page 60. So I didn't actually finish my chapter. So this was the longest chapter at 30 pages. I was meant to read it yesterday. I got a little bit through it, still haven't actually finished it. I think I'm just finding it a little bit dry to get through. Some non-fiction books I get really invested in and stuff, but obviously it always comes down to writing style. This one I'm finding just a little bit dry. At the minute we're on the chapter where we're learning about Mary Astle, but what I think I'm going to do is just pick and choose what I want to read from this. So obviously my initial plan was to read it chapter by chapter. I don't know, I feel like I'm preferring the bits where we're actually following the philosophers and getting to know their lives and things like this, but I'm also just struggling a little bit with that dry sort of writing style a little bit. But we do have, there is one chapter I'm really interested in, which I'm pretty sure is Love and Loathing, because then we start getting into Mary Wollstonecraft, which is the mother of Mary Shelley. So I am really intrigued about their work, and to see, you know, just learn a little bit more about them, and go from there. And if I still, and then maybe just like spot pick chapters and stuff that I want to read. I mean, it is one that I am interested in because I do find it interesting to see the different things that Reagan's had to go through, to push through, those prejudices and stuff like that is genuinely interesting. I don't know what it is. I think I'm just struggling with non-fiction lately, that it's just not quite as engaging as I want it to be, and maybe it's just the types of non-fiction I'm reading, because last year I read a book on poisons, really enjoyed that. The year before that I read a mixture of different books, so maybe it's just the type of non-fiction that I'm going for, that while I like the idea of reading about female philosophers, I may not actually be as invested in it as I thought because I'm finding it a little bit dry. So maybe it's just what I'm reading. Got quite a few non-fiction books that I can choose from, and I think that's a good part of it. It's like anything when it comes to reading, you've got to find what interests you, and what works for you. And I think as much as I really like the idea of this one, it's not quite working as much as I had hoped, which is a shame because this is the second non-fiction book I've picked up this month, and it's the second one that's done that exact same thing. The first one was Ways of Thinking, which was looking at art and the way we perceive art, and again I thought I'd be really interested in that because I actually really love art. I used to draw and paint quite a lot, so I thought this would be really interesting for me, and then I just found it wasn't really giving me what I actually wanted, and I feel a little bit the same with this one. So as much as it's frustrating because you want to be able to go out and enjoy these things and find new things, or at least I really do want to go out and find non-fiction books that I'm really interested in, I do think it's like any genre, isn't it? It's like you get a whole genre of sci-fi, but actually it's so there's so many niches within it. It's finding your niche, and it's the same thing that I'm going through with non-fiction at the moment. Like, I like the idea of all of these books, but it's finding the ones that actually interest me. So we'll see how it goes. I will try reading a little bit more, but I think I'm gonna jump ahead to the Mary Wollstonecraft bit, see how I get on with that, because I know that's the main reason why I was interested in this book. I mean, I was interested in it because someone was talking about it on their channel and it did sound really interesting, and I thought, you know what, why not give this one a try? It's a little bit outside my comfort zone, that'd be good. But then having Mary Wollstonecraft in it, I was like, oh, I am really intrigued by them, I really want to learn more about them. So I'll do that, and if I still can't get into it even with the part that I'm most excited for, then I will probably put this one down, come back to it maybe at a later date, because sometimes again with non-fiction it's just the time may not be right. So yeah, so it's been a bit slow and difficult for me to get into, and I just can't work out if it's the subject matter that I'm not connecting to as much, or whether it's just the writing style's a little bit dry, or whether it's a bit of both. I don't really know, but yeah, I think we'll skip ahead, see how I feel about the chapter on Mary, and if it's still not quite doing it for me, then we'll just put this one down for a while, come back to it at a later date, and instead try and pick up a different non-fiction book and see how I get on with that. I have one planned for my spring TBR, so we'll give that one a try and see if I get on with that better. Hopefully if I do, great. If I don't, then I know, okay, we're gonna switch and try a different area of non-fiction, and eventually I will find my niche. Okay, anyway, moving on from that, moving on to really, really positive news. I have read quite a bit more of the Ornithologist Field Guide to Love. We're up to chapter 15, page 184. I have read a really good amount of this. This is so much fun. I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's just so good. It's so much fun. It is so silly. It is so ridiculous. This is not going to be for everybody though, because definitely it gets a little bit repetitive in their declarations. Like, so they haven't declared it to each other, but they think about each other a lot. And I will say it is very, very similar at times, like similar to the point where certain sentences are repeated and how they're thinking about one another and the sort of things, how they feel about one another and things. It is very, very similar. And I know that repetition could really annoy some people. For me, I don't really mind it. I'm just finding it really silly, fun, tongue-in-cheek kind of time. Like, it really is absolutely ridiculous, but I am having the best time with it. So yeah, I mean, like I say, this book, it's not the best written thing. It's not going to be for everyone, but I really enjoy these for just such a light, easy read. I don't need to focus on it too much. It is very funny and entertaining for me, and that is all I'm going into it for. So I'm having a grand old time with this. It is so good. I don't know if I'm going to get it finished in time, because I do need to start the Hunger Games book on Tuesday. I really want to start that, so I've only got today and tomorrow. We'll see. I might surprise myself. I might be able to read it and finish it out. I'm not sure though. We'll see, because honestly each morning I've ended up being like, oh okay, I'm not going to do this, and then I end up getting so sidetracked with so many other things that I'm doing that I just end up not reading as much. What I did yesterday is I actually took this one to work. On my lunch break I read a good chunk, and that's how I managed to get so far into it, and it is just really fun. So I'll probably do that again today and see how much more of this I can get read, but it is just, it's so entertaining. I really, really do like India Holton. Like, definitely not going to be for an author for everyone because of how absurd their books are. This isn't the type of book I want to be reading all the time, but it is the type of book I just find so hilarious and entertaining. And that's always good. Like, I think it's really good to have books that you absolutely love, that you adore the writing style, that you can really pull apart and annotate and all of those things. But it's also really fun just to have a book that is just a really fun, silly time. And I love it. I love it for that. It's doing it really well, so I am very happy with this. Honestly, if I was tabbing the moments that made me laugh, this book would just be filled with tabs, because there have been genuine moments where I'm just cackling and giggling along to myself. It is so silly. I genuinely enjoy it so much. I also enjoy like the tension being built between Devon and Beth. I think that's really fun. I'm looking forward to seeing where the second book in the series is going to go, and it's also reminding me I really do need to get on and read the rest of the books in the Dangerous Damsel series, because I read number 3, which I think I already mentioned this, but I need to read these first 2 and I still haven't actually done that, but definitely need to, because they are absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if I feel the need to own every single book in the Dangerous Damsel series. I think this is what happens when I read it out of order and then like, oh, I'll get to that eventually, but I'll probably read those 2 as an ebook and leave it at that. But this series, I could happily own a copy of each of them. Do I prefer this? Kind of, because I do like the academic lean to it. And genuinely how absurd and ruthless these ornithologists are, and how ready they are to like kill each other. Like if it means that they can get Birder of the Year, like 100% they will kill each other over this. And also I like the fact that in this book we're getting a kind of add into the plot and the chaos of all of this. We've got this every so often a perspective where you're realizing that everything's being set up and they want it to go a certain way. And honestly, Beth is the most oblivious character ever. But also I think that's done on purpose, like with, again, the tongue-in-cheek where you just want to go to her, Beth! It's them! It's that, you know, like a pantomime where you're going, it's behind you! It's like that with this. And it's hilarious. It's so silly. So I am enjoying it, but I do think I prefer this one a little bit more because of the academic lean, whereas the Dangerous Damsels is witches and pirates and secret agents, which is very fun. Don't get me wrong, it is very, very fun, but I do prefer this kind of academic lean to it. So I think I'll probably end up owning this series, own one book, the one book that I read out of the Dangerous Damsel series, but then read the other 2 as ebooks. I think that would work really well. That's what I've decided. Okay, well, I've been talking for almost 15 minutes. I don't even know what I spoke to you about, to be quite honest. I've just been waffling on. I've actually updated 2 other videos at this point already. So I have been chatting away to myself for almost 40 minutes, just updating various different videos and stuff. So I think it's time to do a cup of tea and start doing some food and then get myself ready for work, because I've got work again today. Only 3 more days. I've got today and 2 more days, and then I am off for a couple days, which would be nice. And yeah, then we'll get into everything else I need to do. To see if I can wrap up this video and start next week's vlog all within the time frame that I have got before I need to go to work. Did I decide to do this pretty late? Yes, but you know what? Tomorrow bit of a busier morning before work, so we're just gonna try and roll with it and see how much we can get done. Reading though, I have finished a book. I didn't honestly expect to be finishing another book in this video, but I did. I spent this morning, I woke up with a pretty bad headache, so I didn't edit for as long as I thought, so instead I had about 2 hours for me just to chill out and read, and I decided to focus on one book, which is The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love, and I did finish this one out. I had taken it to work yesterday as well to read on my lunch break, and I managed to read probably about another 40 to 50 pages on my lunch break and then finish it out this morning, and I'm really pleased I did. This has been so utterly ridiculous, but it's been so much fun, and this has been exactly what I'd needed because I have actually been reading so many books this week, it's kind of ridiculous. So outside of this reading vlog and the books you've seen in this, I have had a buddy read going on, which is now finished. I have also finished an ebook for the final cozy new releases video that I'm doing. Instead, those videos are changing. Thank you to all of your help with that. So I finished that book. I then started another book which didn't go well, and I can't talk about the book or really what that's for. You'll see that in July. Put it down to the wayside. We'll see if I pick it back up. And then I started another ebook in place of that one. So I've had all of that going on with those four, and then I have had The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love. We've had How to Think Like a Woman, and of course the book I finished out first thing this video. So we've had a lot. We've had 7 different books going on, and honestly, that's my limit. I definitely don't want to be doing that again. What I should have done is take a break between different things, but I was like, oh no, I've got time. I can cram in another bit. I can do this. Oh look, I've got more time. I can cram in something else. No, you know what should have happened is gone, no, slow down. We don't need to be doing all that. Don't get me wrong, I really did enjoy it at first. I think just today with the headache, and I've been finishing out a couple books, I'm just like, you know what, I need a break. So I'm actually really excited for next week's video because I'm just going to be reading 2 books in that, and that's it. And I don't think I'm going to have any other books in the background of that video. I've decided, like, I've definitely got books I can do in the background of that video, but I think I'm not going to. I think I'm just going to give myself a break where I just read 2 books and that's it, and nothing extra. Don't get me wrong, I'm very pleased with everything I've done because this month has really put me ahead. And we're not even halfway through the month. Oh, okay, we're just about halfway through the month. It's the 17th today. So it's really put me ahead though of where I need to be for different video things that are happening. So I'm really, really excited about that. I've pretty much finished, so there's 5 extra videos coming out to you in July, and I have finished 3 of them and I'm halfway through the other 2, and it's all because of how much I've been able to read in these last couple of weeks, plus combined with what I did in the last, like, January as well. February not so much, but January and the start of March I have made so much progress and I'm so happy with it. But I need a break now where I'm just like, you know what, the only video I'm going to focus on is a weekly reading vlog, and that sounds so good because I can't remember the last time I've done that. But I'm doing right. I love having loads of projects on at the same time, but it's needed. A break is needed. But anyway, back to this book. This has been perfect because this book is so completely different to every other book I've been reading with all the different things going on. And so having something that is so utterly absurd has been great to really distinguish between all the other books that I've got going on, to really have a break from them all. So that was really good, and I'm very pleased that I spent this morning finishing out this book. It very much is over the top, ridiculous, preposterous. It is very much a comedy. It's a pantomime in a book, as I already mentioned. Like, it's very much like the reader, we know what is going on. We know, we're on the inside joke. And we're just kind of like seeing our characters fumble their way through everything and then seeing their romance blossom and all of this stuff. Like, it is very self-aware, very tongue-in-cheek. It is not going to be for everyone because of that, but I genuinely love it. I have so much fun with these and everything else I've spent the last few days talking about, so I'm not going to go back into it all, but it was really good. So I'm very, very pleased that I actually finished out this book and took the time to do that. If I didn't have the headache, to be quite honest, I probably wouldn't have finished this book today. Instead, I would have probably edited for another hour, so it probably would have been coming in with like 60 pages left to go of this book. But with next week's vlog and how that is all themed and everything, I wouldn't be picking this up until the very end of the month, so I'm kind of pleased that I decided to give myself a day off editing. But it has meant, because of my headache this morning, I've not actually read any more of How to Think Like a Woman, and again, because of next week, like, I'm not going to pick it up next week, I've decided. So we'll see in the very last video of this month, which is going to be kind of like Jan's cramming vlogs, where we're just going to try and see what I can finish from my March TBR, and we'll see. I might get back into this one. It depends how I'm feeling though, because as I've already said, like, my thoughts on it haven't really changed. I'm still interested in the chapter on Mary Wollstonecraft, but I'm not like really rushing to read it, so this might be one that I put down for a little while, maybe try and read some different non-fiction and then go back to this one. We'll see. Like I say, I'm still trying to find what non-fiction I really like reading, so we'll see about this one. It's a shame. I'm pleased that I definitely picked it up this week. Like, I'm so pleased that I've started it. I'm pleased that I gave it a try, so we'll see. I may eventually come back to this either at the end of the month, or I will put it off until I've read a different non-fiction book and then come back to it and just see what it is about this book, whether it's just maybe wrong time for me, whether it's just the dry writing style, like, I don't know. I definitely do want to read that chapter on Mary Wollstonecraft at the very, very least. I'll probably try and do that. We'll see, because I've got quite a few books that I'll be trying to finish up in that video, so we'll see what I actually get read. So yeah, so unfortunately I haven't read any more of this today though, because the headache is just headaching and it's not happening. Finally, I did start out this video, it feels like absolutely ages ago, but I did start out this vlog finishing Within the Century of Wings. So I'm pretty impressed with the reading this week, to be fair. Like I say, I've had so many different things that I've been reading and finishing, and like loads of different video projects on the go, but it has been really good. Do you think, you know, finishing out a favourite series, having a book that is so completely different, it's just been a good mix. I think it's worked for this vlog, so I'm happy with that. But you'll have to let me know, have you read any of these? Are you interested in reading any of them? You have to let me know your thoughts. And also, do you read non-fiction? Like, is it something that you like to read? Is there particular parts that you like to read, or do you just not read non-fiction? I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you've been up to, what books are you excited to read? And as I said, if you've read any of these, or even if you've just read an India Holton book and what you think of them, like, is it the kind of absurdness that you enjoy, or is it a little bit too absurd? Or if you've read India Holton books, have you read any other books similar to India Holton's work? Like, is there other ones similar? I haven't read any of them, so I'd be really intrigued to see if there are other authors that do something similar. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate all of you that take the time to watch these videos. If you've made it to the end of this video, then definitely you'll have to leave like either a purple heart or a bird emoji. So yeah, you'll have to leave that in the comments below if you've made it this far or just don't know what to comment. And again, thank you so much to everyone that takes the time to watch these videos. An extra massive thank you to all of my Patreons. I'm having so much fun over there. I've got so many ideas fizzing away that I cannot wait to share and get all your opinions on and stuff, so I'm very excited for all of that. If you are ever interested in joining my Patreon, the link will be in the description below. No pressure though, but it's just any extra content. If you're interested, then feel free to have a look. But right, okay, I think that's everything. So if you have enjoyed this video, then please do give it that thumbs up, subscribing and commenting. Those 3 things really help this channel out. My social media links, Discord, everyone I've mentioned, Patreon, everything is linked below for you, and I will of course catch you in the very next video.